As someone who goes to Walt Disney World extremely frequently and basically can walk around the parks blindfolded, Disneyland to me feels relatively new. Even though I put a few years in between Disneyland adventures, they're always coming out with something new, and the next time we go back to Disneyland, I'm sure there'll be a whole new Marvel area that's been built. They're actually working on it right now, so it constantly is changing, and it always feels new to me. In today's video, I'm going to go over my favorite attractions that we experienced together on this most recent adventure at Disneyland and California Adventure. Just as a reminder, this video is all about my favorite attractions at Disneyland. If it's not on this list, it doesn't mean I don't like it, it just didn't make the very top of my list. This most recent adventure to Disneyland was all about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, so let's start there, and Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run has become one of my new favorites at Disneyland. In an earlier video, I went over every single role that you can find in the Falcon. You can find that video on my channel, linked right there at the I button. It is truly an immersive, amazing experience that feels new every time you go on it. I can't tell you how happy I am that they're bringing Smuggler's Run to Walt Disney World, because I want to keep improving my score, over time become the best pilot, the best gunner, and best engineer in the galaxy. Another favorite of mine at Disneyland is Indiana Jones Temple of the Forbidden Eye. If you've never been before, imagine Dinosaur from Animal Kingdom with an Indiana Jones theme overlay. It actually shares a track with Dinosaur, which is kind of cool to think about. Maybe they'll bring an Indiana Jones in the future, just a thought. But the ride is super cool and very immersive. You see the spears being thrown at you, fire all over the place, skulls, snakes. It's a very Indiana Jones themed ride, and I love it. One factor that I really do think is underappreciated at Indiana Jones is the queue line entertainment. There's a lot of cool things that you can do in line. Look for those signs that say maybe do not do something, but with the Indiana Jones font, don't break any Disney rules. It just says do not pull on this pole, for example, like a bamboo chute that's holding up the entire ceiling. You pull on it, and then the entire ceiling starts to come down, and the spikes are coming down like the movie. It is so cool. Again, do not break any of Disney's rules, but if you see one of these interactive things in queue line for Indiana Jones, try it. It's really cool. Another favorite of mine that you really cannot get at Walt Disney World is Hyperspace Mountain. The reason I say that is because Space Mountain at Walt Disney World, as great as it is, cannot do overlays as well as Space Mountain at Disneyland, and now it's permanently Hyperspace Mountain, and it's so cool. But that is one lesson that I really do wish Disney World would learn from Disneyland. These better overlays with the screen effects and the lasers and the really cool, very loud soundtrack, which we definitely need. At Walt Disney World, the overlay is okay at best. I mean, it's not even that great. It's just a very subtle soundtrack and all dark. Disneyland's overlay at Disney World would be spectacular. I'm sure there's a plethora of reasons why they don't have it, but it would be great. Even if they couldn't add the screens and the laser effects to Walt Disney World's Space Mountain, they've got to find a way to improve that overlay, because knowing how the overlays are right now after we experienced it at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I wouldn't even bother to go and experience that overlay again. That's how strongly I feel about it. Usually I'll say go and do it, but this one, absolutely not. It is totally not worth your time. One way to improve it would be to increase the volume of the soundtrack, but I know that there are some problems with that as well with Walt Disney World Space Mountain, so hopefully they can come up with something in the future to improve that a little bit. Another classic favorite of mine at Disneyland is the Matterhorn bobsleds. Truly is a Disneyland classic, and you can tell when you're sitting in the cars and you're feeling the bumpy back and forth. Compared to newer ride technologies, it's not quite there, but still a great classic. Still good. Experiencing the Matterhorn bobsleds during the day is a lot of fun, but right around dusk is a really cool time to see it because the colors are changing in the sky as you're going around looking outside of the mountain. You can see the castle, it's kind of lit up a little bit, Main Street. It's very cool, very fast, but awesome. Of course, there are other fantastic attractions at Disneyland like Big Thunder Mountain, Pirates of the Caribbean, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, and all of the Fantasyland attractions, many of which you cannot find at Walt Disney World, but today I'm just focusing on the ones that have the highest priority, in my opinion, when I go back to Disneyland again in the future. Now on to California Adventure, and my favorite attraction at California Adventure at the time of filming is the Incredicoaster. I did have the opportunity to ride California Screaming a few years ago, what the Incredicoaster used to be called. It is the same attraction, but it's definitely been taken to the next level, especially with that soundtrack and the really cool overlay inside those tunnels with the Num Num Cookie and violet protecting everyone from the fire that Jack is throwing off. It is an amazing attraction. The soundtrack, though, is my favorite part. It may be hard to believe, but the Incredicoaster is one of my all-time favorite roller coasters ever. Honestly, it is that good, right up there with Rock and Roller Coaster. That's how amazing it is. That being said, Disney, please don't replace Rock and Roller Coaster. That one's awesome too. I like both of them. Don't replace any. They're all good right now. One of my new favorites at California Adventure is Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, formerly Tower of Terror. I'll tell you right now, the story in Tower of Terror, in my opinion, is better, but the thrills inside Mission Breakout are truly fantastic. The music is great. Some of the screen effects are really cool, even though I couldn't really follow the story with the screen effects. That part I think can be improved just a little bit, but the screen effects with the music and the dropping up and down and up and down and up and down was super intense. Definitely recommend it before you eat something. Eat something after you go on Mission Breakout. You do not want to eat before that one. Another favorite of mine from California Adventure is Radiator Springs Racers. Similar to Test Track in many ways, Radiator Springs Racers takes you through Radiator Springs. You meet different characters along the way, and then you go outside for that race. In my opinion, the story at Radiator Springs Racers is far better than Test Track. That's just my opinion. I love Test Track too, you know I do, but Radiator Springs, love that story. Of course, there are many more attractions which I love at California Adventure, like the Mickey's Fun Wheel, now known as the Pixar Play Wheel, and I like the swinging one, so next time we'll have to go back and do that one again. And Soarin', of course, can't be without Soarin', but those are my highest priorities when I visit California Adventure. Those are my favorite attractions at Disneyland and California Adventure, the ones that I prioritize the most and will be prioritizing when we go back again in the future. Let me know in the comments below what you think of my list. Would you add any attractions to this list, or maybe you really want to experience one that I named that you haven't had a chance to try yet, like Mission Breakout, the Incredicoaster, or Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run? Let me know in the comments below what you are most excited about. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me. Until next time, have a magical day.